take care of you. I will.
Hi guys, I'm Kiss.Makeup. Welcome back to my channel. I'm not going to ramble too much because I have this long list of things that I need to mention. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, once again, welcome. Just to give you a brief overview, these videos are pretty much filmed at the end of every semester, and I pretty much do like a recap of everything that I went through during the semester. So I go through each class one by one and I discuss different aspects of that class. Can't believe that we're already on my third semester review. I can't believe how quickly time is passing. Like, we're almost halfway done with 2017, and that is crazy to me. This semester I took 4 classes for a total of 14 hours. I took an anatomy class, an accounting class, an environmental science class, and military leadership. For those of you guys that also don't know, I am an ROTC cadet. This semester I found that I had a hard time focusing, and I had a hard time managing my time. Not particularly when it comes to turning my assignments in on time, but it was more so that all I did was work on schoolwork. I couldn't find like a good boundary between studying and doing other things, because I mean, in reality, like, everyone needs a break, and I found myself getting overwhelmed like a lot throughout the semester because I was not able to give myself a break. So I guess we can go ahead and talk about anatomy first. I guess not. So overall, this semester was probably my most difficult semester to date for a variety of different reasons, but the primary reason being anatomy. I think anatomy is a difficult class in general, but I think it's a little bit more complex at my school. I know that there are a lot of complaints when it comes to anatomy. A lot of people that I talked to beforehand said that they took anatomy 2 times, or they would say like, oh, you know, most people end up taking it the first time and failing it and then passing it the second time, which did not make me feel better at all. That wasn't something that I was interested in. I did not want to take the class 2 times. I also spoke to other professors, and they said that this anatomy is a lot more difficult because it's geared toward the medical students and not necessarily just like the general population, because of course everyone that's taking anatomy doesn't want to be a doctor or a nurse. Or unfortunately for me, I found myself getting behind in anatomy, so instead of failing the class and potentially losing financial aid, I decided to drop the class, and instead I decided to audit the class. Basically, when you audit a class, you are still sitting in on the class because you pretty much already paid for it. Of course, that's non-refundable. However, you are not required to turn in any homework assignments, quizzes, tests, anything like that. So it's like you still get a chance to learn the information, because most of the time when you audit the class, it's because you still have to take it again. Me particularly, I start that class on Monday, so I'm very nervous about how that's gonna go, because I just feel like the amount of information that you have to learn in the amount of time given is kind of unreasonable, but I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I don't think it's going to benefit me to be negative about it anyway. So the next class that I'm going to mention is accounting. Accounting was also one of those classes that I found kind of difficult, but it was nowhere near as difficult as anatomy. I have friends that took accounting before me, and the main thing that I was nervous about in accounting was the math. However, the math that you do is like basic math, so that's like the least of your worries. The thing that I found the most difficult was probably the amount of different account types. Of course, you have to have those memorized. So I will say that this class was harder than I expected it to be, because I tried to take the easy way out. I'm not gonna lie. I decided to take the accounting class online because I thought like, oh yeah, because all of my tests and quizzes will be online, all my homework will be online, like it's fine, like I'll just use my book whenever it's time to study. And then we got our syllabus the first day of class, and he pretty much shut that down really quick. He said all of our homework assignments will be online, all of our quizzes are online, and all of our tests are in class. So that did not work out in my favor. Because I took the class online, I had very little time to interact with the teacher. So it was a lot of self-teaching, and I found that the videos on the website came in handy. Like, I pretty much learned everything that I know from the videos. Like, even reading the book, it was still kind of confusing, but watching people explain and break everything down definitely helped me out, and I do feel like the videos are the reason that I passed the class. One thing that I did not like about this class was that the quizzes were due before the homework was due. So the quizzes would be due on Tuesday, and then the homework would be due the next Tuesday. I still don't understand why that is the case. I feel like it's very backwards because you learn from the homework and then you know how to do it on the quiz, but I guess it doesn't matter. I ended up passing that class with a B, and I could not be happier. So you guys, when I flipped the page to look at my environmental science notes, I have like literally an entire page full of. So environmental science was relatively easy to understand. The material wasn't particularly hard. However, this was not my favorite class, and it was not because of the material. It was more so because of the professor, but I'm not going to get into that too much. So when it came to this class, reading was literally everything. Like, he got his tests and quizzes from the chapter, so if you didn't read, you pretty much weren't going to pass. The lectures were just renditions of what was already said in the chapter. You definitely had to make sure that you review the information before class. And although this was not my favorite class, there were a few things that I liked out of this class. One thing that I liked about this class was that I actually feel like I learned a lot of things about how water is recycled in the environment. Because not to talk about it too much into detail, but as you guys know, we only have a limited supply of water, and once that source is depleted, then we will all die pretty much, because you need water like for everything. So we actually took a couple of field trips. We took 3 field trips throughout the semester, which was nice because it gave us an opportunity to get out of the classroom and do some like hands-on learning. Another thing that I enjoyed was when we had a guest speaker come to our lab time, and she actually was a herpetologist, and she brought like reptiles and amphibians. Of course, I had the seat in the back of the classroom when she came, but it was still nice to experience something new. I guess that was a pretty cool day. I came out of that class with a B as well. I definitely feel like I could have gotten an A if I would have started off on the right foot. Like, if I would have started reading the chapter like before the first test, then I could have done better on the first test. I got a B on that test too, but like I feel like I could have worked harder in this class and probably pulled out an A, because that's the type of material it was. I will say that I had one of those professors that taught a relatively simple class but tried to make it more complex than it needed to be, but I still feel like I could have pulled out an A. So the last class that I'm going to talk about is probably the most important to me, and that is military science. Like I said earlier, I am a ROTC cadet, so I take military science every semester up until I graduate, where I will commission into the Army. Hopefully I will be able to be active duty, but that has to be determined at a later date. So this semester was extremely exciting to me because we got our uniforms. I am only like a level 1 cadet, and normally you don't get your uniform until you contract, but this semester they decided to do things a little bit differently. Every week that I wore my uniform, I just felt so proud. It's an amazing feeling, and I cannot wait to graduate and actually be active duty in the military. For me, wearing my uniform was like a huge source of motivation, and it was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing this for. Like, this is going to be my end result. You know, you just got to keep working, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep going. Like, I was so proud to put that uniform on. At the end of the semester, I was a little bit disappointed when it was time to turn it back in, but we get to pick them up again in August. Like I stated in my previous semester reviews, I absolutely love the ROTC department at my school. It's probably the thing that I like the most about my school. When it comes to the program, we are all working toward the same goal and the same common interest. I think overall my favorite thing about ROTC is the sense of family that you get. For the most part, I don't encounter people that are just outright rude or anything like that. Most of the people that I encounter are positive, and they're willing to offer you advice if they're in the class that you're taking now, or just overall they're all willing to help. So I really enjoy that. ROTC is unlike any other classes that I take. My interactions with my fellow cadets is nothing like any other class that I ever taken. It's just an amazing feeling. I still have a long ways to go as far as like my physical fitness and things go, but I find myself motivated to continue on. With that being said, when I return in the fall, I will be a second level cadet, so I will be at MS2, and I am so excited to be progressing. I'm that much more excited at the end of every semester. So now that we have that out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about my goals for the next semester. So I do need to work on my physical fitness, especially when it comes to the PT test. The main thing that I struggle with is my running. I am terrible at running and I hate running. However, I need to reduce my run time. So I think the maximum is like 15 minutes or something like that. But I would like to get to a point where I am lower than the maximum time. That way I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm gonna pass. One of my other goals this summer is to stay active. I don't want it to be a situation where the entire summer I don't exercise and then I try to return in the fall and play catch up from there. I want to remain active at least several days out of the week. And while I'm remaining active, I guess that kind of goes with the previous one, I want to work on my run time. Like I mentioned earlier, I am taking that anatomy class this summer. I actually start on Monday, so that's one of my goals. I need to work really, really hard in that anatomy class so that I can pull out at least, I would like at least a B. But I definitely need to pass that class because I need to take the second level in the fall. I'm super nervous, but I'm just gonna go out there and give it everything that I have. So when I return in the fall, I will be taking 4 classes. I'll be taking a astronomy class, a world humanities class, an anatomy 2 class, and military science. So far, the classes that I am the most nervous about for the fall semester are the anatomy 2 class, and I think it's pretty much just the anatomy 2 that I'm just like really scared about. If you guys are interested in seeing more in the moment things throughout my semester, you should probably check out my vlogs because I speak more in depth about what I'm going through in the vlogs, of course, because they're more close together and not just like a drastic time span. That's everything that I have to mention today, so I hope you guys enjoyed this semester review and I will see you in my next one.